Fibby lives in a world of his own design, a fragile universe built from half-truths, tall tales, and constant self-invention. In his mind, he's a feared figure with underworld connections, a man who moves in shadows and commands respect. In reality, he's trapped in a fantasy he can't escape. Every lie he tells is another brick in the wall that separates him from truth. His paranoia feeds the illusion. He's always watching, always convinced someone's out to expose him. He speaks in coded language, drops names that don't know him, and sees betrayal in every corner. Yet behind the tough talk is a deeply insecure, out-of-shape dreamer who wants to be someone important. Paranoia is the engine of his performance. He imagines betrayals and spies everywhere, speaks in coded phrases, and drops names he's never earned. Yet the people closest to him see through the act. His so-called friends tolerate him, not out of loyalty but utility. They use Fibby because he shares their enemies, while privately resenting his vanity and foolishness. They keep him on because his loud hatred is convenient, not because they respect him. The most striking incongruity is his posture of authenticity. He styles himself as a big bad gangster from New York, tough, seasoned, battle-scarred when he's never been in a real fight, and he's actually from Virginia. The accent, the anecdotes, the posturing, all borrowed scenery. Fibby doesn't inhabit the world he describes. He stages it, rehearses it, and then believes the performance has become the person. It's tragic and small, a life lived in the shadow of invention, where bravado substitutes for substance and delusion for dignity. Fibby is a man deeply entrenched in delusion, narcissism, and compensatory fantasy, presenting a classic picture of pathological insecurity masked by grandiosity. His personality structure suggests a blend of narcissistic, paranoid, and antisocial traits, though his core pathology seems rooted less in genuine malice than in fragile ego defense mechanisms. At the surface, Fibby projects an image of dominance, toughness, and street authority. He speaks as if he is a feared figure, claiming to have an army of killers ready to act on his behalf, or that he has powerful connections in the criminal underworld. However, these statements reveal more about his need for control and fantasized importance than any real capability or experience. Psychologically, this is a form of delusional inflation, an overcompensation for deep feelings of inadequacy and rejection. His identity as a big bad gangster is a protective illusion, a way to shield himself from the painful reality that he has never actually been in a real fight and lacks the respect he craves. Emotionally, Fibby is stunted. He likely experienced early life humiliation, neglect, or chronic invalidation that left him with a distorted sense of self-worth. Instead of developing authentic confidence, he built an elaborate false self, a fictional identity that allows him to avoid the vulnerability of real relationships or introspection. His constant need to exaggerate, lie, and posture, Fibby itself being an apt moniker, functions as both a defense against shame and a cry for recognition. Deep down, he is terrified of being forgotten, laughed at, or seen as weak outcomes that would annihilate his fragile psychological equilibrium. Fibby's delusions of control and violence also serve a symbolic function. They represent a fantasy of agency in a life that otherwise feels powerless. He speaks of having people who handle business. For him, not because he believes. He commands loyalty, but because he needs to believe it. This belief structure protects him from the despair of realizing he has little to know. Genuine influence in the real world. In interpersonal settings, Fibby oscillates between manic self-assurance and sullen withdrawal. He craves admiration, but cannot sustain relationships that require honesty or humility. His lies pile upon each other until he no longer distinguishes fantasy from fact, a phenomenon consistent with pseudologia, fantastico-pathological lying. Over time, his identity becomes a patchwork of these invented narratives, leaving him psychologically hollow when his audience stops believing him. Ultimately, Fibby can be understood as a tragic figure of arrested development, a man so consumed by the illusion of being feared and respected that he has lost touch with reality entirely. His life is not guided by authentic ambition or purpose, but by the maintenance of his own mythology. This makes him pitiable as much as contemptible, a self-made ghost haunting his own lies, chasing validation he can never sustain. Dealing with a person like Fibby requires a combination of emotional distance, strategic communication, and psychological insight. Individuals with his traits, grandiose, paranoid, and habitually deceptive, cannot be reasoned with through ordinary logic or emotional appeal. His worldview is built not on facts, but on a delusional self-narrative that must remain intact for his fragile identity to survive. Any direct challenge to that narrative will be met with denial. How to deal with Fibby by exposing his lies. Step 1. Gather information quietly. Write down what he says. Keep screenshots or messages, and note dates or witnesses. Do not argue while collecting it. Just listen and record the details. Over time, his own contradictions will appear clearly. Step 2. Use contradictions instead of direct confrontation. When you bring up a lie, ask calm questions like, "Last week you said something different. Which version is right?" This forces him to face his own inconsistency without giving him emotional fuel to fight back. Step 3. Expose the truth through context, not through spectacle. If other people need to know, present your facts calmly and clearly. Do not attack his character. Let your composure highlight his defensiveness. People notice who stays calm and who scrambles. Step 4. Keep your emotions flat. Fibby feeds on drama. When you stay calm, he loses control of the situation. Think of it as removing oxygen from a fire. Step 5. Redirect attention to the facts. When others get drawn into his stories, say something simple like, "Let's verify what actually happened." This keeps the focus on evidence and takes power away from his manipulation. Step 6. End the cycle. After you have exposed the lies, disengage. Do not keep arguing or explaining. Once the truth is clear, walk away. If you stay in the argument, he will twist it to rebuild his story. Step 7. Protect your energy. Exposing a liar is not about revenge. It is about setting boundaries. Make dishonesty impossible in your presence and then keep your distance. The truth will stand on its own. In short, expose him slowly, calmly, and factually. Let evidence speak louder than anger. When lies meet reality, his contradictions reveal everything for you. On a psychological level, remember that Fibby's posturing comes from deep insecurity and fear. Understanding this helps you depersonalize his behavior. His attacks, lies, and delusions are not truly about you. They are defenses against his own self-hatred. This doesn't excuse his conduct, but it reframes your response. You manage him not through confrontation or empathy, but through detachment and realism. If total avoidance isn't possible, for example, if he's a co-worker, neighbor, or family member, then use controlled, minimal engagement. Stick to facts, keep emotional distance, and document interactions when necessary. Never rely on his word alone, since his narratives change with context and audience. Finally, protect your own mental space. People like Fibby can drain emotional energy and destabilize those around them. Don't try to fix him, his personality. Structure is deeply entrenched and resistant to insight. The most effective approach is containment, not confrontation. Limit contact, limit impact, and maintain your own clarity. In essence, the key to dealing with someone like Fibby is to stop playing the game he lives for. He feeds on reaction, conflict, and belief. When you stop supplying those, his power collapses under the weight of his own delusion. The best revenge and the healthiest choice is calm indifference.
Let's demystify what those terms mean. What are psychosis? What is schizophrenia?
Yes, psychosis can describe a state of having a change in behavior, change in perception, maybe starting to, I think classically you hear about things like hallucinations, starting to hear things or see things that aren't there, that other people don't experience, maybe developing false beliefs, thinking that other people are talking about you, thinking that maybe somebody's following you or going to hurt you. But there are other symptoms of psychosis that are not always recognized as psychosis. Thought disorder, having some kind of alteration in the flow of thought, maybe things get jumbled up and confusing, it's hard to communicate. And then there can also be what are called negative or deficit symptoms, a loss of interest or pleasure, maybe not showing very much emotion, not showing motivation. So it's really all of those things together. And psychosis can characterize a lot of different situations. So for example, somebody could be high on drugs and show psychotic symptoms.
Chemically induced.
Right, chemically induced. There can be rare medical problems that can cause psychosis, like a brain tumor, for example, can cause a psychotic symptom. But the most common forms are schizophrenia, and then sometimes mood disorders, such as bipolar, manic depression, or depression can have psychotic symptoms along with them.
Some people find it hard to make sense of the world around them. They lose touch with reality. They find it hard to make sense of their own internal world, their thoughts and feelings. Their perceptions can be severely altered. A person with these symptoms may be experiencing psychosis. While people's experience of psychosis varies, it is common to have extreme mood swings, behave strangely, have jumbled thoughts, and muddled speech. People experiencing acute psychosis will sometimes talk and respond to voices and other hallucinations that only they can see or hear. They may feel afraid and paranoid, be guarded and suspicious of other people. Sometimes people turn to alcohol and other drugs to manage their feelings. This may disguise their symptoms and in the long term make their symptoms worse. People may experience a psychotic episode when using or withdrawing from alcohol or other drugs. Psychosis can be a severely debilitating mental health disorder, but there are effective treatments available for psychosis, and people can and do get better. If you experience these symptoms, see your doctor to find out more about the types of treatments available.
This Red Zilla video. And
you're gonna have people over there like Redzilla.
Is that really you, Redzilla?
Redzilla's been busy. Redzilla's been busy. Subscribe to Redzilla, guys.
Redzilla 2, what's up, man?
Redzilla's putting out smart shit. He's got balls too. Redzilla's got balls. He's putting the truth out.
Was Redzilla.
Redzilla.